looking for inspiration, peace, and a deeper connection with your soul? If you're ready to investigate your higher truth, take a deeper look inside, and discover a better way to live, stay tuned for Higher Soul Living, where we ignite your divine intelligence for life. With me, Reverend Christine Hart-Savage. I experienced a profound spiritual awakening that was so life-changing. It took me into a 30-year career as a metaphysical life coach and breathwork expert. I've mentored thousands of people through their personal challenges, anxiety, self-doubt, and search for meaning. Higher Soul Living is about choosing to live the higher way. It's about taking conscious ownership and drawing spiritual intelligence into your everyday life. Join me on a search for higher truth to find hope, connection, and happiness. The Higher Soul Living Show starts now. Hello, everybody. This is Reverend Christine Hart-Savage, and we are going to have a very interesting show today. The magnetic power of breath and energy. Yes, I went to a corporate conference many years ago now, but I really think this is the time to share this. I haven't told a lot of people about what happened at this conference, but as I've mentioned before on the podcast, I've decided to actually speak about these more interesting and metaphysical events that have happened in my life and other people's lives. So it's a true story. There were 30, in fact, I think there were more like 40, but I would have to go back and find my notes on this or speak to the CEO of this particular company to find out exactly how many people were there. But it was between 30 and 40 people, and they were immovably stuck together, or we were, I should say. So it's a very interesting event that happened and an interesting topic around energy and what energy can do. So it's very fascinating. So this corporate conference, as I said, with tongue-in-cheek, the corporate conference with a different point of glue, my sixth sense of humour. This is a remarkable true story. So what on earth happened to these people? That's what we're going to go through and look at why it happened and how it happened. So this day started like any other day, but during this planned activity, this really astonishing event took place. So I'd like to share this with you, and I'd also like to discuss the magnetic quality of energy. The magnetic quality of energy. So understanding how energy works is really important for our lives. So it can give you this incredible real insight into your life and what's happening in your life and why it's happening in your life. And I'd also like to explain to you about the breath, how the breath transports energy. It's always doing it. And how this knowledge is important in your life. So firstly, I'd like to give you a bit of a backstory on how I met this CEO. So he was one of my private clients for some time, and I'd worked with him extensively for quite a period of time. And he's the CEO, was then and is now the CEO of a successful multinational company. He's a really lovely man. So what happened was approximately a year after I'd finished his clinical sessions, he approached me about attending his company's national conference. He wanted me to train his sales staff up in some of the life skills that I had taught him in the time that I worked with him. And that was pretty out there for those days too. It was quite a happening thing to be doing, because we're talking about energies. We were going to, he wanted me to teach them things about breathing, stress and anxiety management, dealing with difficult customers is more corporate-y, that too, and to teach them about the mind and how it works, what our thoughts are, what our words mean, and how they affect us, feelings, actions, behaviours in life, and also teach them about meditation. So the time of the conference arrived, and we were at the most gorgeous resort up in Queensland in Australia. And I'd been provided a lovely workroom, which was separate to the corporate business room that the rest of the group were working in during the day. So I got my room all set up, and the group were coming in after their morning business meeting. And by the time everyone arrived at our session, I was feeling really weird, like I was going to fall over. I thought something is really wrong here. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but there was this strong sort of disturbing energy in the room. And I knew that I couldn't continue with the actual teaching with the group because it was really making me feel very weak and off balance in my head, like a sort of vertigo. And I knew this feeling because I've been sensitive to this all my life. So I asked the group if anyone else felt strange. Could they hear a hum or feel any sort of vibration or dizziness that they were having? And nobody else, 30 to 40 people, nobody else was having this experience. And they all looked at me like I had two heads. Anyway, the CEO disappeared from the room, and I was really struggling to get my words together and to function. And he reappeared in 5 minutes and told the group, pack up because we're moving to a different room. When he'd actually gone to concierge or gone to the front desk and asked what was behind the rooms, behind our conference room, what rooms were there. And you know what they were? Big industrial clothes dryers. That was behind our room for the whole complex, and they were all booming away. And that was putting out a huge magnetic field. And that's what was nearly knocking me over. And because the CEO had worked with me for, some time, he trusted that what I was feeling was something energetic or something in the room. So I'm so glad he did. No one else was experiencing it, but it was very strong. So we moved to our new rooms, which were all calm and energetically balanced, set to go for the week. So as you can guess, I'm an empath, and it's caused a lot of problems in my life, this sensitivity. And I know there's people listening right now that would be exactly the same. So it's hard when nobody else has experienced something and you are yourself. So let's go to the actual conference beginning, my part of the conference. So when the group were coming to me, so all was going really well. I had these people for a week, so 5 days, and I built the teachings up over a 3-day period, and everything was going swimmingly. And people were understanding. I taught them to breathe a certain way for stress and anxiety management, and even really opening their spiritual channel, which we didn't speak about a lot because it was a corporate conference. Anyway, it was leading into day 4. And I'd spoken to the CEO about what we were about to do, which was a breathwork type session. So getting deeper and deeper into the body. I didn't have them laying down. I had everybody sitting up. So everyone was seated on the floor. They had cushions and rugs if they needed them, and everyone was comfortable. And I took time to explain what we were about to do in this session and what they might feel happening to their body, because we were going to do some breathing, which really changes and alters the composition in your body of energy and oxygen and all sorts of things. So they already understood the healing benefit of the session and breathing because we'd been over it in previous days. So we sat in this circle and we held hands. And we held hands in a particular way, which I won't go into right now. But this way would enable the flow of energy to move from one person to the next. And I took real time to set this up very accurately. So we were sitting in this circle, 30 to 40 people, hand in hand, and they were very well put together. And I led them through this breathing exercise, this technique that we'd been learning. And I let the energy build up. Every now and again, I would speak to them about whatever they were feeling was okay and just allow it, and to keep the breathing going. And then once the energy had built up, I led them in how to draw and direct the flow of energy from one to the other. So they were passing it, they were breathing it into themselves, they were passing it on to the next person, the person they were holding hands to on their right. So we were going from left to right. The whole group was doing exactly the same thing. So it was a really powerful energy moving through the circle of people, 30 to 40 people. So moving energy has like a cleansing and a raising effect on the mind and the body. And it feels a little bit like, or a lot like, electricity running through your body. That's what energy feels like. It's literally spirit moving through the body, moving through the cells of the body. It's a very high vibrational process and it's amazing. It really is. Been working with the breath for over 30 years and it never ceases to amaze me. So after about approximately 15 minutes of breathing, and I was really strongly holding the space for the group and I was breathing with them too, I received a communication. I'm going to call it a communication. Very clear telepathic communication. You can let go now. We've got them. And I understood exactly what they meant because when you hold space, you're really, really holding your energy. It can be quite exhausting and breathing, holding the whole group energy. So something, power, whatever you'd like to call that, spoke or communicated telepathically, we've got them. And I felt the energy come in incredibly. Now, the group was acting as one because we were all joined energetically at the hands. And there was spirit circling and moving through the group as a whole. Now, this might sound a bit weird at the moment, but stick with me. I'll try to explain this the best I can. So what's happening when we're in that sort of situation is we're raising the vibrational frequency of each person in the group, but we're literally, through being joined as we were hand to hand, we were raising the vibrational frequency of the group enough that we had a good connection with what I could call a higher dimension, a higher level of frequency, which took over from there. So the group was actually in process. A transformative process was in action in the whole group. I understand if this isn't making sense to some people, but hang in there. I will explain more. So remember, we had nearly 40 people in this room having this experience at the same time. Now, I won't go into the full details of what happened, but if you've ever worked with breath or you've worked with energy, or perhaps you're a long-term meditator, you will know, you will have experienced at some point that energy is magnetic in its essence. It has a magnetic quality. You know, if you've ever meditated and sitting there and you're really, really connected, you get a feeling of being magnetically pulled upward, stretched upward, drawn upward. It's like a magnet drawing you. That's the sort of energy we're speaking about here. So the quality of spirit is actually magnetic. The quality of your soul, the essence of your soul, it has this magnetic quality. That's what the law of attraction is really about. It's magnetized energy. So on this occasion, this magnetic quality was experienced powerfully by the whole corporate group. It was actually amazing. I mean, I've had these experiences before, but not in this type of situation, in a corporate setting, in the way this happened, and not with so many people at once. I think because we'd built up the energy over the week and everyone was quite relaxed and really we set it up very well that this actually took place. So the power of the energy that we'd created through breathing together in a specific way was so magnetic that the whole group became stuck together. We were literally stuck together. The grip or the force of the energy was so strong that nobody could unlock themselves from the person next to them. It was like a spiritual superglue. And of course, I knew exactly what was happening, but they didn't. So I was explaining to them what was going on with this energy. So this was like physics and quantum physics 101, I tell you. We were stuck together in this phenomenal process for 2 hours. 2 hours. So we became bound to each other through the energetic connection that we'd formed. This literally is how the law of attraction works. It's the law of attraction in action. When we align energy, we draw in certain substances, certain qualities to us that we're carrying. So what happened? The people furthest away from me after the 2 hours were the first ones to be able to separate. So they started to be able to let go of each other's hands on the other side of the room. And the person, like they did it person by person. So the magnetic hold that we'd had for that 2 hours gradually started to let go person by person. And I'd calmly talked everyone through each stage of this event. It was phenomenal until there was just 5 of us left stuck in the well, it wasn't a circle anymore, but there was still 5 of us stuck. So I sat there and I was giving people instructions, and I'm very into hugging, which opens the heart energy. And at the end of every session that we had, I got people to 3 people. Each person had to find 3 people and hug them before they left the room. So the group were really used to doing the hugging, and the healing effects of hugging have been spiritually proven. And we'd been through some of the studies earlier in the week. So they knew the benefits and how energy is transferred when we hug or when we touch somebody, even on the shoulder. It changes their energy and we align with each other. So they knew about that. So I was instructing people, once they were unlocked, their hands were free to hug 3 people before they left the room. And after this incredible, powerful event, what happened was people started to experience, when they were hugging, these big surges of electricity and love through their chests as they hugged each other. It was mind-blowing. Some of them had these sort of energetic shocks as well. Have you ever experienced touching someone else? It used to happen with my son and I a lot. That when you touch somebody or you hug them, you get that electric shock sometimes, like sparks. Well, this was like that, but 100 times more powerful and 100 times more heart opening. It was the most incredible experience. So the last 5 of us that were left were finally able to release our hands. Now, this event was really phenomenal. It was unusual, and particularly in that sort of setting. Now, the CEO came up to me when everyone had left the room, and he said, "Oh my God, why did you do that?" We'd missed the afternoon barbecue, which was supposed to be an hour earlier than we finished, but we didn't expect the actual breathing session to go for 2 hours, nor did we expect everyone to be glued together by that energy. And as I said to him, "Do you think I'm that powerful that I did that?" And he was worried about putting them back together and talking about what happened, because he sort of knew what happened too, because he'd been my client for some time. But the next day we debriefed and discussed the experience that took place the day before. We took the time, we rested, we integrated the session, and I tell you, people were buzzing with excitement, absolutely buzzing with excitement. It was the talk of the town. They experienced something extraordinary, really extraordinary, something that they hadn't experienced before. There was this incredible alignment of energy that happened. The whole group worked as one. So we reached a synchronization of the group energy and a phenomenon called entrainment happened. And it's in quantum physics and physics, it's well known. Entrainment is well known. I knew exactly what had happened and I knew how it happened. I knew what we did to produce this. And it was really interesting because we just got it right. We got it right. The position of the hands, the meeting of the energy points, and the way each person directed the energy through to the next with their breath. It just all came together. There are studies in a company called Heart Math, one word, Heart Math, that explains this type of phenomenon with energy very well. So you can actually look these things up. The general, I looked up the general dictionary, the general dictionary definition of entrainment, and it says, where is it? The synchronization of two or more oscillatory systems when they influence each other's rhythms and eventually match their frequencies. So literally what happened, all the cells in every person, every body in that room, everything started to oscillate, to spin at the same frequency. So we became one unit. So when this was achieved by the group, the magnetic pull was so powerful that the group literally became one entity, one breathing, moving, alive entity. And the breath was the avenue for this to occur, because your breath holds spirit. It's infused with energy or chi. Your breath is alive, it's dynamic. And it's something that we don't know, we don't use a lot consciously, our breathing. And breathing is just so phenomenal. You can change so many things about your life in so many different ways. So no one left the conference the same as when they arrived. Everyone was more. They were expanded when they left. They were vibrating at a higher frequency at the end of that conference because of the work we did. I've experienced this with other metaphysical groups that I've run too, but this was the biggest group experience I've ever had in this unexpected environment, this corporate environment. Who'd have thought? Now, if you're listening to this and you're interested in learning more about energy, you might be interested in this course that I run. It's a coaching program with an online course, which is quite comprehensive around energy, called How to Give a Shift. Now, it teaches you about energy and how to clear emotional pollution from the body and raise your vibrational frequency. And it teaches you through that to embody your soul a lot more than most of us do. And also how to live a higher and more enjoyable life. Hence why I named the podcast Higher Soul Living, because we can all do that. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, you can register your interest on soul, S-O-U-L, lifeconnection.com, soullifeconnection.com. So that's there for you to register, and I'll get back to you if you're interested in doing that work. So my closing message for you today, you have a power in you that is so dynamic, so intelligent, so alive, and so incredibly loving. We all do. It's part of you, and you are part of it. So you can learn how to draw this power into the body, and you can learn how to harness this energy and direct it and consciously create with it. So this is how the law of attraction works. This is such a fascinating subject. It really is. So even if you don't do a course like mine, but you learn to meditate, and I think one of the most important things too is to learn to breathe correctly, because one of the things I find in my breathwork practice and coaching practice, because I always teach people to breathe, there's different sorts of breathing. Some is the deeper clinical breathing where people go into beyond the conscious mind, even though they're still aware, and they work with releasing old debris, pollution, emotional charge from the cellular level of the body. And there's another breathing that I teach where it's nose breathing, and you use it for day to day so that you can actually work with your reactions to life. You learn to balance yourself internally, and we start to be able to handle life a lot better. So there's different ways that we can breathe. But one of the things that always happens is people at some point start to connect light. It's like bright white light comes in, or a color of light. And this experience is always like, whoa, that was amazing, because it's actually very practical and very real. We're all filled with light, and we can actually draw on it, call it in, and start using this light or energy or substance to create a life that we love and live that higher way that's more in touch with our soul, which I think is very, very exciting. So we've come to the end of our time. I hope you enjoyed this very true story, and maybe I should. Yeah, no, I don't think I'll do that. This actually happened about some years ago now, but these people had an amazing experience, and they will always remember it. They will never forget it. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back with some more interesting stories about energy and metaphysics. They're all true. I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Until then, many blessings to you. Thank you for tuning in to Higher Soul Living, where you'll ignite your divine intelligence for life with me, Reverend Christine Hart-Savage. Join me every second and fourth Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio for more information and stories that inspire hope, possibilities, and a greater understanding of who you are at a higher soul level. Together we deepen the connection between the spiritual and the physical aspects of your being and align to your soul's innate intelligence. Metaphysics and the higher soul's journey are my greatest joy. I invite you to join our Facebook community, Soul Life Connection Group, and to visit my website, soullifeconnection.com, for more information about me, my programs, my coaching, and to tap into your higher soul's intelligence. I hope to see you next time.